Bert Beeb, which is not his real name, but it's a good pen name. Welcome.
Thank you. So my story is called Black Star. Sean Walters sat in front of his bedroom window, watching as his younger brother Judd came strutting through the privacy fence gate back into the backyard of their beige, two-story suburban home, wearing nothing but a pair of neon green swim trunks and a rifle slung over his sunburned back, his shaggy blonde hair glowing in the uninterrupted sunshine. When his brother disappeared from view, he set his gaze back on the glimmering black star that bedazzled the baby blue afternoon sky. Sean envied him. It was all just a game. He was too young to grasp the doom that loomed overhead. His 13-year-old mind was convinced that they could survive anything down in the basement. Sean knew better. The reality of death was like a demon that had possessed him. The last radio report said the size of the mass was inconceivable. Scientists were baffled as to what it was. They only knew that it was a perfect cube with a height and width 5 times more massive than the Oort cloud that encased the solar system. The most disturbing thing was how fast it was coming. Its blackness made it difficult to detect until a blotted-out region of stars was discovered 2 weeks prior. The jarring pop of a gunshot ripped Sean from his thoughts. He scrambled from his cluttered room, bounding down the stairs, knocking the nose off the wall. He burst out of the back door from the kitchen, scanning the area. Judd came running from the left side of the house, red-faced and out of breath. 2 guys hopped the fence and went for the back door. I fired a warning shot and they took off like stray cats, Judd hooted. Get in the house, Judd, now. Sean slammed the back door after Judd walked through. He pulled out a chair at the round wooden kitchen table, sat down and started rubbing his temples with his palms. The gunshot had reignited his anxiety. We can't keep living like this, Sean cried out, slamming his fist down, knocking a yellow Post-it off the table onto the floor. He got up and went to the sink for some water. When he turned the faucet, the water came out in erratic blasts, followed by spurts of air. Sean threw his glass into the aluminum sink. The shattering impact caused shards to ricochet in all directions, one shard hitting Sean on his left cheek. He felt the warm blood trickle down his face before the sharp sting of the cut. Judd harumphed and stormed out of the kitchen, stepping on the note. Sean cleaned up the glass and picked up the note from the brown linoleum floor, dusted Judd's dirty footprint off it, and put it back on the table. The words, "back in no time, love you," stood out in black pen. The words pulled at his heart and brought on tears even though he tried not to look at them. He understood that his parents were trapped in China, but he still felt abandoned. Judd was convinced that they hadn't tried hard enough to get back home. Sean couldn't blame them for feeling that way. He had no intention of reasoning with them about it either. It would only be a waste of what little time they had left together. Judd came back in, pulling a red tank top over his head. He put a scrawny arm around Sean's slender, slumped shoulders. An apologetic grin started spreading across his round face. "Feed me," he commanded. Sean shoved him away and nodded with the same grin in agreement. It drove Sean crazy that they looked so much alike. People often mistook them for twins, despite him being 3 years older. They sat down on the maroon and green plaid sofa in the living room, a bag of potato chips and some beef jerky, and read comic books while they ate. As Sean was wiping his greasy hands on his blue jean shorts, the house started to quake. It began as a soft tremble, but within seconds it became a rolling rattle. The brothers bolted for the basement. They went to their safe place under the stairs and hove together. Minutes passed with no end to the quake. Sean had the sudden revelation that the world would probably tear apart long before the blackness arrived. He's starting to think that the end had come when the quaking abruptly shifted into a strange vibration that tickled his nose. After a while, they decided that the vibration was not going to stop. They were coming out from behind the stairs when they heard a frantic knock at the basement door. Judd immediately went up the stairs. "Don't open the door, Judd. It could be robbers," Sean yelled from below. "Please let me in, please," a girl's muffled shriek pleaded. "We can't leave her out there, Sean. She could be hurt," Judd yelled from the door. Okay, open the door." Judd unlocked the deadbolt and started to open the door slowly. A girl with wide brown eyes and frazzled hair, wearing a long, light pink nightshirt, burst through. She fell to her hands and knees whimpering, saying thank you over and over. She lifted her head slowly and looked around the room, finally locking her wild gaze on Sean. "They were so horrible. I just ran. I was so scared. They killed my mother and my sister. I don't want to be alone anymore. I just don't want to be alone anymore. She cried, never taking her gaze from Sean's. It's okay. You're safe now. Just try to chill out, all right? Judd assured her from behind. She looked over at him with a forced smile that fell quickly apart. She buried her pale face into her tiny hands. Her body started to rack with sobs again. Thank you. I'm sorry. Who killed your family? Sean asked as he helped her up and guided her over to her dad's old brown couch from his college days. The basement was their dad's man cave. He called it the kid-free zone. The walls were once adorned with car pictures, car collectibles, and shelves of trophies from his racing days that were now scattered all over the floor. Some men broke into our house this morning. I live just a few blocks down and we have a basement just like this. My mother and sister Kara were in the living room. I was in the basement sleeping. I had to listen as those men hurt them. Then I heard my sister begging for her life, then nothing for a long time. I climbed through a window and hid in the neighbor's backyard. I went back a while later. They were stripped naked and dead. The brothers sat in shocked silence as the girl's crying reignited. What's your name, Judd asked after she calmed a bit. Etta. Nice name. Thank you. I'd like to lie down for a little if that's okay. Yeah, sure, you can have the couch, Sean offered. Sean and Judd made pallets under the stairs. They all fell asleep to the unnerving, steady vibration of the dying earth. Sean awoke to a jostling chaos. Etta was holding tight to the couch and whimpering on as it jerked her around the basement. Judd was gripping his pallet as the floor shook. The world settled back into a soft vibration after a few minutes. Morning sunlight shone down on them through tiny window slits, illuminated by the reflection of heavy dust in the air. Sean and Judd climbed out from under the stairs. I'm going outside to have a look. Judd, don't answer this door for anyone other than my special knock. We can't take any more risks or we'll end up like Etta's family. Judd and Etta nodded in agreement. Sean put his ear against the door and listened for any sign of intruders. Confident there was no one out there, he cracked open the door and peered out to be sure. But when he tried to open it enough to get through, something blocked the way. He forced it open, pushing the dishwasher aside. Beyond the rest of the house was in ruins. The roof had collapsed, and Sean could see the open sky from his living room. The black star had become much larger. It now looked like the moon's evil twin had taken root in the day. Its darkness seemed to mingle with the sunlight as it shone down, weaving the rays with blackness. Sean climbed over the rubble to his front door and opened it with a gasp. The whole neighborhood was little more than ruins. He thought he saw movement from the corner of his eye. He quickly closed the door and went back down to the basement. The three of them ate a meal of cookies, potato chips, and warm soda. For a while they were kids again. They played card games, talked, and joked about things that used to matter. They slept deeply that night. Sean was the first awake. He was surprised that the buzzing vibration had ceased and that it was still dark outside so late in the morning. He quietly got up and went out to the backyard for some fresh air. When he emerged from the back door, he was dumbfounded by what he saw. The sky was the darkest black he had ever seen. Not a star shone. It seemed to be sucking the very life from him. He felt weak and dizzy. He was walking backwards without even realizing it. He almost stumbled over a lawn chair, but turned with the momentum and sprinted back inside. He tried to slip back in quietly, but when he entered the basement, Judd and Etta were staring at him with concerned expressions. You look like you've seen a ghost, Etta said. You look like a ghost, Judd added. It's here, Sean replied sullenly. Well, should we pray or something? What should we do? Etta asked. No thanks. Think of the prayers being said as we speak. No one's listening. I say we get sick on candy, play some more cards, and whatever happens, happens. Sean didn't wait for an answer. He pulled out a stash of Halloween candy he had been saving for a special occasion. He divided it with his new friend and his little brother, and they started shuffling the card deck. During their second game of goldfish, the vibration gradually returned. They tried to ignore their fears and carry on as best as they could. Etta started weeping softly while she stared at her card hand. Judd put his arm around her, and she took comfort on his shoulder until the quaking erupted and tore them apart. They were thrown around the crumbling basement like rag dolls in a washing machine. Sean dove onto his father's couch. Etta and Judd were desperately trying to hold on to their sterile railing. The couch bounced around until it toppled over. Sean lay under the couch, listening to the rubble grinding in Etta's screams. Then suddenly it all stopped. It was an eerie, creaking calm. Sean started to pray. He begged God to forgive mankind for the things they did to deserve what was happening, and he begged for a quick, painless death for Judd, Etta, and himself. He was happy that he'd get to see his mother and father again in the afterlife. He waited for whatever kind of death the Black Star would bring him. He heard a strange sound, like a massive bubble popping. Then from his left, a wall of pitch blackness passed through the basement wall, moving slowly toward him. A sulfuric smell hung in the air. He considered letting it just take him, but he saw Judd and Etta running up the broken stairs, urging him to follow. He got up, not taking his eyes from the dense shadow of black, until he turned to go up the stairs. When he got to the street, Etta and Judd were still calling him from a distance. He could feel an immense energy pulling at him from behind. The stench was overwhelming. He stole a glance back and was shocked to see that it was just a few feet away. It spanned as far as his eyes could see, blotting out everything behind it. He jumped over a trash can, and in mid-flight, he was suspended. The blackness enveloped him. He screamed. Mid-flight, Sean could not move or even close his eyes. He could taste something foreign and bitter on his tongue, and he could feel the coldness course through his veins. He felt like he was being poisoned, and he wanted to vomit. The thickness was oppressive, and it became harder and harder to breathe until he could no longer take a breath. As his mind began to go black, he was suddenly blinded by an overwhelming light. The coldness was instantly replaced by a searing heat. He landed hard on the sidewalk on the other side of the trash can. He looked ahead, and the black, shimmering wall was moving steadily down the road beyond two others who stood frozen up ahead. He stood up, brushed off his bruised knees, turned around, and started walking. He passed his house, continued out of his neighborhood, and down the road until he reached the tree line. He sniffed at the air, and then took in a large gulp. He crouched, let out a challenging roar at the forest, and rushed in. The end.